final preseason deep dive into the 2026 NFL draft class before the football season begins. Quarterback tier rankings. My version of heaven, Stevie Boy's personal hell. Just 5 days until college football kicks off this Saturday. 248 days until the NFL draft. Mensch, you good?
I'm fine.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. Let's roll it. You know, it's upon us when we've got 3 shows. From here on out through the season, we got 3 shows, man, starting this week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're gearing up for week 1 of the college football season. Obviously, we'll have this Saturday. Can you believe it? This Saturday, we have college football, okay? So you're stuck with us now. But here we go, 3 shows a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday the following week, and then we'll go to our Saturday, our favorite shows of all. I mean, including the draft, if I'm being honest. My favorite show that we do is the Saturday night live stream. We cut into the end of the primetime game, right? And we go and we kind of review that game, actually go through the ending of that game. Hopefully we have great finishes of the primetime game. And then review the entire day of college football on Saturdays, right? And then we obviously have the 2 shows throughout the week. So we'll have special guests. We'll have a lot of fun throughout the year. But here we are. I mean, we're swimming in it now, and I'm fired up. Mensch, why don't you start off? Tell the folks how they can continue to support us.
Actually, I took notes. I'm trying to get better at this, man. Go to YouTube, find the McShay Show. Hit the subscribe button. You can do, when you get into the videos, you can do thumbs up or thumbs down. Let us know whether we're doing good or bad. Leave a comment if you want to be more specific with your criticisms. You can go into Spotify. You hit the follow and hit the alert button too. I'm getting better.
Okay, that's new.
Hit the alert button so you don't miss any shows. You can also leave a comment in there. You can go into Apple, hit the follow button, and also get the automatic download, man. So if you get away from Wi-Fi or you're caught in a bad area, you can still listen to the McShay Show. And then at McShay13 is the socials for you. I'm at you good mensch. That's MUENCH. Just all one phrase, I guess. And try to get better at it, man.
And the newsletter. We got a fresh one out today.
Report, yep.
Yeah, the newsletter, the McShay Report. Just Google the McShay Report. Subscribe for free. If you want to throw some scratch in and be a premium reader and get the premium content, we'd love for you to do that as well. Today, we've got the quarterback tiers out, some awesome graphics, some strengths and weaknesses, and kind of a deep dive into this quarterback class. Looking ahead to the 2026 NFL draft, but obviously with college football upon us, great time to kind of get geared up for the season and know who the big players are and who the first-round guys are, potential first-round guys who could work their way in, guys who are probably day 2 prospects at this point. And that's our show today, right? I do want to mention before we get started on the quarterback tiers, we're fired up. Tickets are already on sale. It's our first ever live McShay Show on the road, and we're taking it to the heartland, to the Midwest, to one of the most amazing cities in this country, Chicago. Okay, we're going to be at Lincoln Hall in Chicago. I booked the hotels today, Mensch. Marissa's got us some nice digs. We're flying in together, Mensch.
Flights are booked, yeah.
Yeah, September 10th, Lincoln Hall in Chicago. Okay, we're going to have a 90-minute show. Knowing us, it'll probably be 3 hours. Who knows what happens? Tickets are on sale now. If you need more information, go to theringer.com/events. That's theringer.com/events. You can get all the information you need there. So please come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a little bit of football already kicked off. College, NFL. We'll talk, I'm sure, Bears, Notre Dame, Big Ten football, and a lot of other things. So that should be a blast. It's our first ever show, man. Be a part of it. All right, quarterback tiers, Mensch.
Here we go.
It's early, and I always said I want to be transparent, and I want our content to mirror what we're doing, right, in terms of the process. And so, like, when we get to March and April, and we do whether it's tiers for all the position rankings or just for the quarterbacks, they're very specific. They're fine-tuned. right? Like there's 3 tiers within the 90s, which is usually we don't grade based off of round, but those guys with 90 grades always get in the first round because it's, perennial Pro Bowl type players, Hall of Fame type guys, great starters immediately, all that. And so when we get closer to the draft, obviously, like there are 3 tiers within the 90 grade range. Here, I'm not gonna make this into something that it's not. I'm not going to start like, well, there's nobody in tier 1. In tier 2, we've got 2 quarterbacks. Like we're not there yet. And I got news for you. No NFL team in the league. None of the 32 teams are tier ranking anybody at this point. But I think it's important. And we're doing this because I've gotten a lot of texts, and I do every year at this time. And then early in the season, they'll start to come in again as different broadcast groups from ESPN and Fox and otherwise start to go out to games, and they want to know, like, we're going to build a graphic. Like these are, top 5 prospects in the game. This quarterback is going to be, we project him, Todd McShay has him projected as a first rounder or day 2 or whatever it is. So I kind of wanted to get this information out there because it's what I'm kind of going back and forth with a lot of people on and where I see the class. And Mensch, you've done the film evaluations, and I know our grades aren't identical, but we're in the same ballpark on a lot of these guys. And we'll just have a conversation about how I see the tiers now. Essentially, I've broken them up into 3 tiers, top 9 guys that we spent a lot of time on. Please go back to whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever else you get your podcasts. And we did deep dives on just about all of these quarterbacks. And there are full shows on these guys. It's hard to, I've never done content that have been handed out to the public. We've always done this in the process, scouting in the preseason, getting ready for the season. But this is the first time ever, as our show started in October 22nd last year. This is the first full year go-around we've had. So with all of that said, now to me is a good time to take a look before the season starts at where we have these guys in ranked of just tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 to me, and we can throw up the graphic of these players. Tier 1 to me is the quarterbacks right now. If they were to come out and, barring something happening that's unforeseen or information that comes out that we don't know about, and we'll get into all 3 of these guys. You can see tier 1, you got Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, LaNorris Sellers from South Carolina. These are guys that something would have to go wrong. There would have to be a serious regression or information that comes out that we're not privy to now or that happens between now and the draft for me not to say these guys belong in the first round, okay? They would carry a grade that's equivalent to round 1. Tier 2 is guys that make the 3 guys you can see there: Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, Sam Leavitt from Arizona State, and Drew Allar from Penn State, that I think can work their way into round 2. Into round 1. And quite frankly, I think it's a much better shot they get into round 1 than maybe round 3. Okay. But I can't stamp it yet. I need to see more. I need more game experience from Mendoza. Need the same from Leavitt. Need to see certain things have to be improved upon from Allar. And I know I'm different than a lot of people on Allar, so we can have that conversation today. And then finally, tier 3, we're talking guys that I think are probable or likely or could work their way into top 100. Not saying they won't be round 1 when it's all said and done. Cam Ward last year at this point, we didn't have a show at this point. We were in negotiations with Spotify and The Ringer last year. So at this point last year, Cam Ward talked to people in the NFL. It was day 3, early day 3. Maybe he could work his way into second, third round. Then all of a sudden he's the number 1 overall pick. And he is not an outlier. That happens frequently. Baker Mayfield wasn't going to be the number 1 overall pick even a couple weeks before the draft. People, including myself, didn't think that he would be the number 1 overall pick. So these are guys that absolutely could work their way into round 1. But I view as let's clump them now. I always talk about air traffic control. Let's get them kind of headed in the right direction, but we haven't decided what the exact landing time is, what runway, whether coming out of the east or the west or the north or the south and all those sorts of things. I'm just saying, I think they're about, top 100, but not sure. They're going to have great years and do a lot of things to lock in a spot in round 1. So there you have it. Those are 3 tiers, the 9 quarterbacks we're going to focus on, okay? Before we get into those 9, though, you know what's exciting about this class?
What's that?
It is deep.
Right.
And it's exciting for college football as a whole. It's exciting for the NFL in the future. I would argue this is like, I'm sure there have been certain other like gold rushes of quarterback play in the NFL. I think back to like that 83 draft with like Marino and Elway and those guys. But you look around the landscape of the NFL and like, there's just a lot of good quarterback play. You know, you got your Josh Allens, your Patrick Mahomes, your Lamar Jacksons. You've got, you know, like your Jared Goffs and Matthew Staffords and even, you know, Baker Mayfields. And I'm not going through a list right now. I'm just like off the top of my head. But even like Caleb Williams looks great in that preseason game. Ben Johnson. You got Drake May rising. You got
that year 2 jump. Yeah.
The year 2 guys, right? We already saw Bo Nix got off to a great start. Jaden Daniels was phenomenal as a rookie. Now, if Caleb can play to his level, all right. There's JJ McCarthy's getting started. So, my point is,
I hear you.
Go ahead.
I'm going to cut you off because
Please
immediately what I'm thinking is the 2023 class. Is it as good? Is it going to be as good as that 2023 class with Daniels, Williams, Drake May at the top? The depth of that class with the JJ McCarthy, who we haven't seen, but you know, I was excited about coming out of school. Bo Nix, Michael Penix. Are we looking at a potential?
Well, that was a record-setting class.
I understand. That's what I'm excited about this class. I'll go first. I'll say this. I'm not ready to put it in that conversation yet.
We weren't necessarily ready to put it in the conversation a month before the draft. And quite honestly, like if Bo Nix didn't go to Denver, everyone in the league thought he was round 2. Nobody thought Michael Penix was going that high. Even like a few days before the draft, it was like late first, early second, maybe, but probably going to go late first.
Jaden Daniels wasn't going to go that early. There was no conversation about Jaden Daniels going that early.
No, it was Jaden Daniels 2 years ago, and this past year I just talked about Cam Ward. So yes, we will see, but there's a lot of good players out there, and that's the exciting part. I'm gonna list you a bunch of names right now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Of this group, we could have our Jaden Daniels or our Cam Ward, right? Luke Altmaier from Illinois is underrated. I promise you. Nico Iamaleava from UCLA. Don't think he's going to be ready. Still fighting for the starting job, by the way.
Talented.
But my goodness, is he talented. Miller Moss. Let's see, 1 year with the Braun brothers in Louisville, okay? The USC transfer. Avery Johnson. Put out a lot of good tape last year. Maybe doesn't fit the measurables and all those things, but he's got talent. Aiden Childs. There's some scouts that were like, hey, keep an eye on this Aiden Childs guy from Michigan State. I know he's kind of under the radar, right? Rocco Beck from Iowa State. Probably needs another year, but still could be in the mix. Mark Gronowski. Liked what I saw from him at the Manning Passing Academy. Leader, tough guy. Like, I think he's going to make a jump. Kevin Jennings, phenomenal athlete, SMU. Eli Holstein, Pittsburgh. Taylon Green from Arkansas. 2 undersized guys that absolutely sling it. And maybe it's not for the NFL, like at a high level, or maybe it's not a starter, but they're going to have big years, I believe. Noah Fafita at Arizona, Gio Lopez, North Carolina. Both were awesome at that Manning Passing Academy, okay? Josh Hoover, TCU. Haynes King, Georgia Tech. Darian Mensah, Duke. Tommy Castellanos transfers from BC to Florida State. Caden Salter, Colorado. Jalen Daniels, Kansas. Baron Morton from Texas Tech. Loaded with talent. 16 guys coming in. We're going to talk about Home Depot and our good friends at Home Depot a little bit later in the show. You want to talk about a program with a renovation, right? Austin Novosad, Oregon, still fighting for that job there, but really talented. So this is an exciting year in college football, and it's just exciting for the future, the continued future and like depth of talent in the NFL at that position, the most important position in sports. All right. Tier 1, as I mentioned before, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, LaNorris Sellers from South Carolina. Klubnik, I've got it 1. And here's my thinking on it. And I'll let you kind of riff on Klubnik, and I'll come back and kind of dig in a little bit deeper. Okay. When I was talking to Dan Comer, our producer and editor extraordinaire, does that a lot of everything. I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot of everything for us. I was trying to explain why Klubnik over a Nussmeier or Sellers. Well, Sellers has a special trait that nobody else in this class has, but he's got a lot of work to do as a passer. Nussmeier doesn't have the physical upside of Klubnik or Sellers, but while the interception's got to get cut down on and all those things, my goodness, is he like refined, polished, confident, aggressive, anticipation, timing, all those sorts of things. Klubnik, I've got it number 1 because I think he's got the best blend of those two things. He's got good size, he's got mobility, he's got arm strength, he's got the tools, and I saw a lot more refinement from him last year. What a jump from 2023 to 2024. Okay. Mm-hmm. And like, I love his ability to drive the deep out, the verticals, the arm strength, extends a lot of plays, but he does it with poise, right? He's got instincts, agility, enough strength to kind of ward off defenders. He was only sacked 23 times in 14 games last year. Sellers was sacked 33 times in just 12 games last year. Not as dynamic, not as explosive an athlete, but it's not just about speed, agility, and all those things. It's about the presence, the feel in the pocket, setting protections, all those
processing,
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got like this Gumby-like arm. He understands defenses. He's played a lot of ball, and he's going to play even more ball coming up. To me, right now, if I had to kind of place a stamp on who's your guy, and then seeing like the way he carries himself and the leadership and picking Peyton's brain after, and it's like the Manning Passing Academy is what it is, and you can get a lot of good information. I'm not letting it skew, and I know, so I read all the comments and I'm like, oh, the Manning Passing Academy really put you over the edge with certain things. Like, no, it's good. It's good to get to know like who the guys are and who wants to compete, and who processes the information and can kind of pass it along to younger guys who are trying to be in their shoes one day. So, yeah, that's where I am on Klubnik.
We could go over the tape, which we have. And I love his tape, and all the things you've just said are true, and all the traits. I agree with everything you've said there. I will say this: I think momentum and confidence are more important to the quarterback position than any other position, maybe in sports. And I think he's poised to springboard off a really good end of the year and have a monster 2025. And I think that matters. I think when you look at the supporting cast he has around him, the confidence that he was playing at the end of the year, plus all those tools, I just think that he's going to be a guy that's going to have a big year. Everything's going to come together for him. And that's that, when you're a quarterback playing with confidence, and there's another quarterback we'll talk about in a minute who I have concerns about this. But when you're playing with confidence and you really get things rolling, you look like a different player. And I think that's going to be Cade Klubnik this year.
Yeah. And it's our job as evaluators to kind of sift out. It's like put the sand in the sifter and kind of sift out the talent and the projection despite the tools around the supporting cast to a certain degree. But it's also like it very clearly at times, and you could say the same thing. We'll get to Carson Beck in a little bit. And like it's and Drew Allar, like is it the receivers or is the quarterback in certain things he does well, right? With Klubnik, this is a really good opportunity to show now with a full year with some younger receivers. Antonio Williams he's a great playmaker, had some drops and inconsistency. Bryant Wesco is like coming in. It was Ryan Williams, Jeremiah Smith, and Wesco, right? It were like the three big names in the 2024 recruiting class. So now you've got another year with those guys. You got TJ Moore back as well. Like they've got dudes at receiver.
Yeah.
And he's got experience throwing to them. And I'm excited to see that. Like the anticipation. Is it because Klubnik struggles maybe sometimes or doesn't trust it, wants to see come open a little bit? Or is it because he had really young receivers and it was smarter for him within that offense to wait for receivers to get open, make sure they were in the right spots. The timing wasn't quite there yet, So that's a step I want to see improve in his game, and the consistency with the deep ball accuracy. Those are two things I saw in his game that I'll be looking at very closely, like under a microscope, to see, is he improving now with one more year?
Yeah. I get it when you're saying that. I just want to go back to this really quick. I get it when you're saying that you go and you have to sift out supporting cast sometimes and how good was the supporting cast. And I think when we talk about that, I think about Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans at Texas A&M. I think Mike Evans really helped Johnny Manziel, right? I think Mike Evans could catch anything in the zip code, right? I do think there's also something to be said that, Jaden Daniels having Malik Neighbors at LSU and having those kind of players around him, but Malik Neighbors specifically really helps build confidence. And yes, it does amplify your statistics or whatever you want to say. It does pump you up a little bit. But again, it also builds confidence. I think Jaden Daniels is the confidence he had in himself as a football player when he arrived in Baton Rouge as compared to when he went to the NFL draft were vastly different human beings. And I think that's what's going to happen with Cade Klubnik is already you're seeing this from Cade Klubnik was this highly recruited kid out of Texas, but I don't know. We don't know if he's going to really turn into the player we thought he was. And now I'm seeing him build confidence at the end of last year. And then I think what he can do with this offense and just reach a new level in terms of the tools are there for him to reach another level as a quarterback. And I'm excited to see that happen. I think that's going to happen. Same
here. I'm also really excited to see Garrett Nussmeier this year. And it bums me out when quarterbacks or any player, it comes in this season with like a little bit of a cloud of like, oh, he's got this tendonitis in his knee and it's a recurring problem. And maybe that's why he looked like he wore down over the course of last season, not just because there was no run game. It was an atrocious run game and he had to carry that team. But Nussmeier, undersized, 6'2", listed at 200. He's probably like 6'0", and 2-0, maybe like 208 at this point. 205, 208 is my guess at this point. Had the interceptions. I'll never forget we came on live, one of our first live shows coming on after that Texas A&M game and Connor, our executive producer, Connor Nevins was like, and he put it perfectly. He's like, he was feeling himself, man. But it also was when I was on social media, and it's like the first 10 minutes of that game, it's like he was my QB1. He's my QB1. He was my QB1 in early September. He was my QB1 in August. No, mine in July. Right. It was like everyone slow down. My man needs some more. I know he's a fourth-year player at LSU, but he's a one-year starter. We're only a few games into his first year as a starter, and there's going to be some growing pains. And sure enough, like a few minutes later, he was feeling himself. Tried to throw that. I think it was like a deep out or an out. He came back to his left and threw that interception, and the floodgates came rushing open, right? And it was Marcel Reed comes in and the LSU defense isn't ready. And like he went through this 3-game span with 5 interceptions and didn't really fully look like himself until late in the season. And then the bowl game, I thought he looked really good after he had a little rest. So I say all of that, the tendonitis is certainly something that's new information for me and adds a little cloud of concern. But we have a lot of time to figure that out. Let's see how he gets through the season.
Especially that offensive line. Brian Kelly seems to think that they got that offensive line figured out. But
Brian, did you see the quotes from Brian Kelly
about the offensive line?
I've been around, and I'm paraphrasing. I've been around a lot of really good offensive lines, and I know we lost some guys to the NFL. I think this chance
in the 4th overall pick. Not some guys.
I'm paraphrasing.
I know, but that's what he said, and I'm in my mind. I'm like, bro, you just lost the 4th overall pick to the New England Patriots. Like in a 3rd round offensive tackle on the other side. 4 starters to the draft, and I'm not saying I'm not buying what he's selling because he knows better than I do, but I'm not buying it until I take it for a test drive. You know what I mean? You could tell me that offensive line is fixed and it's great and all that. We'll see. But it does, as it relates to Nussmeier, it's a little concerning that there's some question marks up front with the banged up knee. I hope that doesn't come into play. I hope we get to see what he can do.
Yeah, and so that's obviously a big test. But going off of the tape and seeing his ability to anticipate throws and his timing, the way he the dude's Baker Mayfield, man.
When he's rolling,
oh my gosh,
he's fun.
Just the urgency he plays with, how much he trusts his arm, even to a fault sometimes, and we want to see him kind of find that sweet spot. He just plays the game with a knack. It's about like he's just got a knack, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's smart, you know.
Yes,
there's a lot of different variables there.
His dad, obviously, is a quarterback coach. He was a quarterback in the NFL, quarterback coach for a long time. Now he's the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. Like, it's in his blood, right? It's in his DNA, and it's like raging through his bloodstream, and you can see it. And he plays the game with a level of confidence and understanding and instincts that none of these other guys do. And you want to be around this guy. You know, like he's like everyone, whether it was basketball, baseball, football, everyone knows that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I want to be around Nuss.
The gamer, yeah.
He's a gamer, just like he's got this. You know what I mean? Like he's got.
I get
this.
It. Yeah.
Every team that's good has that's my guy. He's got this.
And you want that guy to be your quarterback, or in basketball, your point guard. He's kind of the glue guy's not the right term, but he just brings everybody together. Everyone's happy around him. Everyone's having a good time without it being a clown show. That's not what I'm saying. It is tough to describe a little bit, right?
It's tough to describe, but he's it, right?
Yeah,
he fits that. So, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm also like, I hope it all comes together because he's so good, and he's got all the things you look for. But I also say this recognizing he's not as big as Drew Allar. He has a good arm, but it's not like Allar's or some other guys. He's not as mobile. Certainly, no one's as mobile as Sellers. So, like, there's going to be people inside each draft room that are like, yeah, I'm just not quite as much a Nuss guy. I like him. I can see late first, early, like I like him. But I'm not sure we're gonna rest our franchise on this guy. Yeah. There will be those guys. I'm certain of it. Okay, so he's fascinating. But I've got him number 2. Then there in the tier 1. Sellers, and I know this is your guy, and I see why. I'm gonna caveat every single time we talk about him. I really hope he plays another season after this at South Carolina, but
I'm with you on that.
It's our job as evaluators, and it's different than Arch because yes, Arch is eligible for the 2026 draft, and maybe he winds up coming out. Maybe he has a monster year. He goes back and talks to Archie. He talks to his dad, talks to his uncles, and says, this bubble's too much. I actually think I can develop more as a rookie somewhere. They put together a deal with the team that's going to, whether maybe the Rams moving up, Browns moving up.
Dude, I saw a video of Jeremiah Smith doing a meet and greet at a local shoe store. It is out of control. I mean, it looked like there was 20,000 people in that building. I can't imagine Arch has got to be dealing with the same stuff. I know you've mentioned it, and I know it's a different guy, but dear God, it's a different world out there. I mean, it's a different world. He might as well have been, I don't know if there's pro meet and greets like that. I mean, it was insane. Grown men waiting in line to meet this kid. It's a different world.
That's the information I've gotten. And I've told you, like, I was just texting again with Archie the other day. And I'm honored to be a part of now the Manning. I'm on the voting,
oh, nice.
The small voting group for the Manning quarterback award, right?
Oh, awesome.
For the quarterback award, right? So, and I know he's right. That is the process. But and it's a big if, And it's not something they're even entertaining. Like, we got to go play ball. We have games that, like, stop. And I know exactly what Archie's doing. Like, he's not like, that's not what we're planning on. That's not what we signed up for. Texas has done their part. We're going to do our part. We're going to be here next season. Let's get the noise out of there. Let's focus on his first year as a full-time starter. But the only thing that could change it is if this young man who is wise and mature beyond his years comes back and says, you know what, Gramps? I don't know what he calls him.
Yeah, I was
Archie.
say, it's probably not Gramps.
You know what, namesake? You know what, Uncle Peyton, Uncle Eli, you know what, Dad, you know what, Mom, I hear you. And I'm trying to, but I just think I could develop better, not in this bubble of Austin, Texas, but we'll see. My point in saying all this is I'm including Sellers in this list because he does have a full year as a starter. And that's the difference. Mendoza has a full year as a starter. Leavitt has a full year as a starter.
Did you consider not putting Sellers on your board?
I did.
20 years old. I mean, I did too.
I did too. But I think because there is a full year of starting experience, this would make 2 full years in the SEC. That I don't want to say it's far more likely. It just feels more fair. Fair.
It's a different situation.
It's a different situation. So with Sellers, because of the type of quarterback he is, where it's mobility first, and we've seen a lot of these guys. Lamar Jackson was not a great passer coming out. Josh Allen was wildly erratic coming out. Jalen Hurts was not a great passer. If he was so great, Nick Saban wouldn't have said, Tua's coming in. Okay?
Yeah.
They all developed. They all got better in the NFL. And you only have, this is the difference in today's NFL at quarterback position than what we were used to growing up and really up to 10 years ago. Is that quarterbacks who have the mobility they don't need all the answers to the test in terms of understanding defenses, understanding protections, understanding where to go with the football. They don't have to think like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. They don't have to because they have the mobility to offset that. And so the answers that you don't have as a rookie, you can get by running around and creating and extending and doing all those things that Jalen Hurts did early on, that Lamar Jackson did early on, that Josh Allen with Brian Daboll did early on. Sellers has that.
Yeah.
So what Sellers is today as a passer in terms of our film evaluation from last season is not going to be what we see in October or at the end of the season. And it's not going to be what we see in 2026, whether that's in the NFL or in college football. Okay. So that's why we're throwing him in here. I can confidently say he's got this special trait of mobility. It's speed, it's twitchiness, it's extending, it's instincts on the move that nobody else in this class has. Jalen Milroe had the same thing. It got him drafted in the 3rd round. He not only didn't get better as a passer this past year, he regressed in terms of understanding what that new regime wanted from him.
I agree.
And the closer we got to the draft, the more reports we got about the frustration in Tuscaloosa with him. His accuracy in short and intermediate and timing and throwing the ball, anticipating, throwing to spots didn't get better. And in some regards, actually may have regressed. Okay.
Agree.
Still got drafted in the 3rd round. So this is why I put Sellers in here. Sellers is going to, this is a SEC honor roll. And by the way, Milroe, super smart too, super smart in the classroom. Just didn't translate to the field sometimes. I see it with Sellers. You know why I see it with Sellers? Because you look early in the season last year, entirely too many. What game was it? Early on, we talked about it. Go back and watch our show on Sellers.
LSU, maybe?
Really good. Maybe it was LSU. It was scary. He got front side strip sacked multiple times in two back-to-back games. There's 2 or 3 consecutive games. They were throwing the same stuff at him and he wasn't adjusting. Then all of a sudden the light started to come on. So I see a guy who's going to continue to improve the mental part And I'm certain with his mechanics and the consistency as
the
a
reporting
passer,
is that he's making big time strides as a pocket passer. That's and take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I know.
That's the reporting.
I've heard the same thing. And so while scouts right now, when I talk to them, are like, I don't know. Like, is he the next Milroe? Like, is he not going to, or is it falling more in line with what you saw in terms of the progression from the beginning of the year to the end of the year as a first-year starter? And then the reports you're hearing out of South Carolina, right? So I believe in him. But what's best for him might be another year of college football. But if he chooses to leave for the NFL, you can't tell me he's not going to be in this first tier of quarterbacks.
No, I agree. I mean, I compared him to Josh Allen when we did the summer series on the quarterbacks. And I stand by that. I mean, you talked about it already. Josh Allen was not a pinpoint accurate passer coming out, but I see that same body type. I see that same kind of toughness.
Well, minus like 4 inches, but yeah.
How tall is Sellers? He's only 6'2"?
He's listed 6'3". I stood next to him in Thibodaux.
So you think
Louisiana.
He's a little shorter than that?
I'm going 6'2", but I don't know. I'm not hell bent on it. But yeah,
I see that big, strong quarterback.
Yes,
is what I see.
Tightly packed. He's listed at 240. And looking at like his lower body and that doesn't surprise me.
I think at the end of the Missouri game where I called him Superman. I thought he took over. I think he's in the mix to be the first quarterback taken. I really do believe that where we are in the process right now. We'll see how the rest of this year unfolds. We're talked about a couple of the other issues with the other quarterbacks or positives, I guess, in Klubnik's case. I wonder about what South Carolina has surrounded him. Nick Harbor is an absolute freak. We've talked about that, the receiver.
Heard a lot of good things from him in camp too, by the way.
We'll see. He has not been a polished guy up until this point. So we'll see what the supporting cast looks like for him. But again, natural ability. The thing for me, I'll take Sellers' ceiling over where Nussmeier's ceiling. I mean, he's got a much higher ceiling than Nussmeier. So Nussmeier might be a little bit higher in terms of where he is, or a little bit better in terms of where he is in the process of developing as a quarterback. But I actually have Sellers ahead of Nussmeier. I have Sellers right next to Klubnik.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. Tier 2, Fernando Mendoza. Let's throw that up, Tucker, with the tiers again. Fernando Mendoza from Indiana, Sam Leavitt from Arizona State, and Drew Allar from Penn State, obviously. We'll get to Allar in a minute, and I can feel my phone getting warmer from all the comments and responses on Allar. And I do want to say this. I'm not blind. I actually like a lot of things I see on tape. I think he's a competitive son of a gun. I think he plays more, it's hard to explain, more athletic than he actually is because he's so competitive. He's got instincts on when to take off, where to take off, what situations in which to take off. He grinds out first downs when they need it. And he got so much better in 2024 than he was in 2023, like marked improvement.
Are we getting into him now? Or we'll just get into him now? I mean, you're already starting to talk about him.
Sure. Yeah.
Right, I went back.
Because the question is, why isn't he at least at the bottom of tier 1? And holy shit, why is he at the bottom of tier 2, Todd? So go ahead.
Yeah. You know what? I guess I'll just throw it back to you. I went back and watched everything, and after watching him again, I would say, holy shit, Todd, why is he not at least at the top of tier 2? Because I do think he's right in that mix to be maybe the fourth quarterback in tier 1. Let me say this, and I want to you say he got better last year. I agree on some level. Let's be I went back and looked. He completed 53.2% of his passes with 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions over the last 4 games of the season. The games that matter the most.
He didn't get better as the season progressed. He got his play as a whole in 2024 was better than 2023 is my point.
But when it mattered most, when
Agreed.
he had to have big games. Now, Mensch, the supporting cast wasn't great. I understand that. Supporting cast wasn't great. And there's a big butt coming, Penn State fans. So just hear me out. But those are not good numbers. And I am concerned about, can he elevate in those big game situations? This is year 3 as a starter. Let's see you do it. On the flip side, and he's inconsistent. He is wildly inconsistent to me. The footwork gets inconsistent. He misses throws that he makes, but when he makes throws that other guys don't make too. And there are some just unbelievable, beautiful throws on tape where he gets the ball out on time. His ability in terms of anticipation, arm strength, the way he drives into windows over the middle of the field is unique. The way he drives seam balls, hole balls. There's certain throws that he's just really good at making. And you look at his size, and I couldn't agree with you more the way you say it. He plays more athletic than he actually is. There's no other way of saying it. I think he's going to go to the combine, and I doubt he tests because I'm guessing those testing numbers aren't going to be great.
He's never running a 40.
But throw on the tape. He's running for a first down. He's buying a little extra time. He's moving around the pocket. He is mobile enough. You know, when you look at a guy who's, what is he, 6'3", 245? I think he's 245. He's a big boy.
He's 6'5", 238 is what he's
238. Okay. So good thing you said that. But he's a big quarterback. And for a guy who's that big, they have some heavy feet. But he moves around all right. I went back and I watched and I thought,
I think he has heavy feet, but go ahead.
There are concerns about certain games, and I want to see him elevate again. Hopefully they've put a better supporting cast on it. People seem to think that that's going to be the case. We'll see. But there's a lot of talent there, man. There is a lot of talent, and I would put him ahead of Mendoza. And who was the other guy you had in tier 2?
Sam Leavitt.
Yeah, I would put him ahead of Mendoza and Leavitt. I think he's more in that mix of tier 1.
Listen, he is big, he's smart, he's tough, he's strong, he's competitive. He sees the entire field. He goes through his progressions quickly. And my goodness, he has an easy stroke and a ton of energy on the football.
I love his throwing motion, man.
Oh,
I love his throwing motion.
He's central casting with so many elements of the position. But he's one of the most complex quarterback evaluations I can remember, and at least in a long time. Because there's two things that really irk me. And it's not even including the big games. Okay. I'm talking about the traits. Like I'm talking about what I see on tape. And yes, that has to be monitored this year as he enters the season. And we're going to start with 10 through 12. We're going to do our top 12 rankings coming up, starting this week and then into early next week. Okay. We're going to go through the top 12 teams in 4 different shows. And he's loaded, and they're going to be up there in the top 3. I can tell you that right now. Spoiler alert. The agility is concerning because he gets away with it with all those things we just talked about. The instincts, the feel, the toughness, the competitive, all those things. I just don't know against NFL pass rushers. And maybe that's part of why in big games happen against talented teams. Talented teams typically have dudes up front defensively who are running 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 at the worst at 250, 260 pounds.
Right.
Guys who are running 4.9 at 305 pounds. Tracking his ass down. Okay? And getting him down. So I want to see a little bit more agile. And I know it's like, well, he had one off season. What do you think he's going to be, like a ballerina? No, but I do know when you combine it with fast processing and speeding things up with like agility work all off season and getting his body even better and even more right. I want to see a little bit later, fleet of foot Allar. That's the easy part. The hard part to evaluate, and go back and watch our show. I go into so much more detail, and we don't have time today. We're not doing the deep dive that we already did. But is it the wide receivers, or is it because they know he is so much more effective throwing kind of middle field, in breaking where he's looking at it, comebacks, receivers open, guys where he can see the jersey number in front of him? I don't remember a single quarterback I've ever evaluated that's at this level where we're talking about potentially first round, where I'm like, there's some kind of visualization problem. And I don't know if that's the stem or the root of it, but there's something with receivers that are moving away from him. Post corners, rolled outs, flares out of the backfield, like outlet dump offs.
I started watching it again yesterday. I was like, oh, maybe it's not as pronounced as McShay thinks it is. Maybe it's not there. And then it was, that Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's like pointing at the screen. He's like, oh, there it is. It started popping up, man. There was more than a handful of throws where I was like, oh, there it is again. There it is again. And he makes them every once in a while. It's not like he misses all of them, but there are enough to be concerned.
So there's a new supporting cast. They brought in transfer portal, brought in some receivers. They've got a young guy or two that is elevating. And so let's see. Maybe he just wasn't comfortable. Maybe the receivers weren't where. We're going to find out, though. So this is an important year for Allar. Also an important year, Fernando Mendoza. New system going from Cal to Indiana, okay? I think the system fits him perfectly. It's not a huge departure from what he was doing at Cal. There's going to be a little bit more of that run element, like design run stuff, which I think he's going to provide a big time boost for Indiana in terms of what they get out of that position, create some numbers in the run game, keep defenses a little bit more honest, right? But I'm and I want, this was your point, and I totally agree. And as you watch more tape as the season progressed last year at Cal, it became more pronounced. Just like my complaints or filing my grievances against Allar, I went back and watched more because you filed a grievance on there's just too many turnover-worthy plays.
Right.
Like just mistakes you can't make. So now I want to see in year 2, with new receivers, with a new environment, with new supporting cast, in a system that's not completely, different from what he did at Cal, but it's still a new system, new coaches. Can he cut down on those mistakes? Can he protect the football, make sounder, smarter decisions, not make certain throws that he was making? Because it kind of felt at times to me like the game was moving too fast. The moment was too big. It didn't see something. Like it just was can it slow down for him this year? Because what I see is a guy who's 6'5", 225, runs well. More importantly or just as importantly as the runs well, throws really well on the run, right and left. Like on the move, he's very accurate. I would argue almost, I remember watching, is he more accurate on the move than he is actually in the pocket? So I want to see more patience as a passer, but those traits, man, like inside and outside the pocket, I saw a touch on his throws. I saw some timing on his throws. I saw the mobility. Throws, yeah. I saw the instincts, but kind of patience in the pocket and making better decisions. Those are going to be critical for Mendoza. And then Leavitt, he's Jared Goff to me. I just really, right?
He's almost JJ McCarthy of that class too. I'm telling you, and I made that comparison, I know already, but he's the sneaky guy in this group. I know this is his second year as a starter. We'll see if he comes out. He's the guy that I think when you get deeper into the draft process, you start hearing the teams like him more than maybe the media scouts.
That's where I am with him. It's not as much of an indictment. I just want to make this point real quickly and go with it. It's not as much of an indictment on Allar that I've got him below those other two guys. It's me planting a flag saying, I know there's some buzz and some love, and sometimes there's too much that goes preseason. Everyone's trying to make sure that make their statement and Mendoza this and Leavitt. No, I'm telling you, I actually think both of those guys have a chance to be, whether it's first round, starting NFL quarterbacks. Truly.
Yeah. I look at Leavitt and I think there's going to be some buzz that will build, and people will look at him and be like, oh, he's in the Big 12. Maybe Arizona State has a step back after Scadaboo leaving, and they don't have the same kind of year that they just had this magical run. It's going to be kind of tough for them to do it again. But I think scouts are going to love him because of the way his play action game is. He's got some pro style to him. It will be his second year. He's a competitive dude. He's a super competitive guy. I think scouts are going to fall in love with him and be like, middle of the first round, I don't know, man. Maybe this kid, and we'll see how it all unfolds. Again, maybe not come out this year, but I think he's one of those guys that when you get close to the draft, there's going to be some building momentum for him.
Speaking of, I think he can be a starter in the league and building momentum. Let's get to tier 3. Pull it up, Tucker, if you don't mind. I think John Mateer can be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and more importantly, in this quest for young Mr. Mateer, I've talked to a couple of different scouts recently who agree. No way this guy, if he performs this year, no way this guy gets out of the second round. I think he could wind up being in the first round, is what I was told. Okay. Top 100, absolutely. Okay. But my goodness, does a player at any position did a player at any position sign up for more of a 1-year free agent, prove it opportunity than Mateer? And it falls in line with who this guy is.
Right.
Because I've now been able to talk to some people at Oklahoma that know and have been around him now and are like, no, this guy's the deal. This guy is he's for real. Yeah, on the field we see this stuff, but like off the field, locker room, meeting room, in the strength and conditioning, all of it. Leader, competitor, like never stops. Like blinding love for the game and competing and his guys and all that. So it takes that kind of crazed lunatic to sign up for this, right? Have you looked at Oklahoma's schedule, son?
I have. We're going to get into this because they're in another spoiler alert. They're in your top 12, and I have a big time question with you about how you think they're gonna get through that.
I mean, who do they have Michigan early on, right? And then they've got this gauntlet. Okay. It's Murderers Row, Texas.
I have it right here. Yeah.
Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU to end the regular season.
At South Carolina too, by the way, which is different.
He could have just stayed. He could have just stayed at Washington State. He could have transferred to a bunch of different places. He's saying, throw him a hat in the ring. Because you know what? Like take all the Johnny Manziel nonsense and all the off the field problems that we now are certain of, and probably even more than people speculated at the time that he was dealing with. Johnny Manziel got to play against Alabama, got to go prove it. Baker Mayfield got to go prove it, right?
Yep.
And they weren't SEC, I don't think, at the time, but he played that Georgia team in the Rose Bowl. I was on the field for that game.
Right.
And they more than did their part, overtime, back and forth, It's kind of cut from that same Texas high school football. Kyler Murray, same deal, baseball player. He's going to go play. He was number 9 overall pick for the Oakland A's. He's going to go play baseball. Like, nah, he's playing football. But does that work? He's undersized. He runs around. It's crazy. It's like mayhem. Those guys played SEC ball, big-time football, big-time games. He stays at Washington State. You feel good about him on day 2. He goes to the SEC now, and that schedule, okay, if he performs at that schedule, everyone who has any doubt, including myself, like those mechanics are a disaster. What's he doing? Like flicking his wrists, his arm angles are all over the place. Why is he taking 3 steps away after the end of his follow through? Like none of that shit matters, Mensch, because the result, and I learned from one of my biggest mistakes, Mahomes. I was too caught up in the mechanics and the footwork and the little things. And I didn't put enough focus on the result, the throws, where they landed, how he got it there. And so Mateer is in that Mahomes, Baker, Kyler, Johnny football. Like he's kind of cut from that same cloth where it's mayhem. It's dizzying, right?
I love it.
But it's awesome.
It's so much fun.
But by signing up for this, and he knew the schedule, he knew who they were playing. He's like, yeah, I'm good. I know I can. And I'm bringing my offensive coordinator with me, and we're going to do the same shit, Arbuckle and I, that we did at Washington State, and it's going to work in the SEC. Let's go. Because he could have transferred somewhere else. He could have stayed at Washington State, put up big numbers, and everyone's like, oh, that's great. Wonder what he would have done in the SEC. So this is like a free agent, 1-year bet on myself deal, and he's going in like straight into the Lions' den.
Yeah, he is.
My work's done. Your work as an evaluator, scouts throughout the league's work, it's like popcorn. The tape's going to tell us.
Right.
The tape is absolutely going to tell us. Does all this crazy mayhem, 60 minutes of hell, like old Arkansas basketball, whatever that was, what is it, 40 minutes of hell, right?
Yeah.
Is that going to work at a level that very close, that is the closest thing that we have in a developmental league, if you will, that emulates what he's going to see in the NFL?
Can't wait to see it.
It's literally, I was talking to Dan yesterday. It's literally, of all the storylines in all of college football, what Mateer does at Oklahoma is my number one storyline coming into this season.
Really?
Maybe number 2 behind Arch.
I was going to say. Yeah.
So it's Arch and Mateer.
Okay.
And you know what? Viewers are fascinated. You know what did our best numbers of any show that we did the entire offseason?
Which the passing academy one were
second.
Mateer on his own?
Mateer on his own.
No way.
Fans know. Fans are hip. Like, audiences are hip. College football people know. Like, what is going on? What is the story? Mateer's the story.
That's crazy. A year ago, we were talking about him, not even a year ago. I mean, we're talking about him doing things in Washington State, like, yeah, but, it's must-watch TV, but maybe not for the NFL. Here we go. We'll see.
2 other guys on this tier 3 list. Carson Beck at Miami now, and Sawyer Robertson, Baylor, going into his second year at Baylor, okay? Robertson's let's go to Robertson and we'll finish with Beck. Robertson's I want to make sure you know about this guy. There's something there. I watched his tape. I think Baylor's underrated coming into the year. I think Robertson's underrated coming into the year. I think he kind of got lost down there in the Big 12 team that wasn't great last season. He's got size. He's got mobility. He's creative. Pleasantly surprised. He's just a natural playmaker. He leads receivers open. Came to that Manning Passing Academy. You know why I did his tape?
Because you saw him down there.
And on Friday night, I told you it was like talking to like God. It was like religion. You hear like religion. What is it? God, family, football. Like, it felt like it was all in one place that one night on Friday Night Lights in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And it wasn't Arch, the son and grandson of, and the nephew of. It wasn't Nuss. It wasn't Klubnik. It wasn't Sellers. You know who kicked everyone's ass? Robertson. On the move, mobility, also pocket throws, most accurate, hit all the targets, and did it no problem. It was pretty cool to see. Carson Wentz, Jordan Love, those are 2 guys that I was kind of thinking back on.
The Jordan Love one I like.
Coming into the year, just keep an eye on these guys. There's stuff I like.
Yeah. And
then they wind up going where they went. It was Wentz went number 2 overall. There was a little more hype. He was just from the FCS with Wentz. Love was kind of like this big question mark throughout the whole process. What did he go? 19 to Green Bay or whatever?
Yeah, it was in the middle of the first, I think.
Yeah. So I'm not saying Robertson's going to be that. I'm not trying to put a target on his back or anything. I'm just saying keep an eye on this guy. There's something more there. Carson Beck, though. We talked about Mateer, and we'll wrap up with Carson here. We talked about Mateer and what he signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go. Lion's Den, gun barrel. I'm up for it. Beck, I have a different feeling on. It's not as risky, but it would if he has a PR firm, if there was such thing, let's say, as a football PR firm, he hired them, it would be one of the most brilliant jobs. The more I've sat back and thought about this,
I can't wait to hear this. Go ahead.
I've spent a little time yesterday thinking about it. It's almost like he went to this the top of the line, the best football PR firm in the world. Okay. Said, what's my next step? George is willing to let me go. I've kind of run the course here.
Yeah, you said the shelf life was over.
My shelf life was over. at Georgia. They're happy to take Gunnar Stockton on, who's not as talented, not as big, doesn't have the arm, all the things as me. Because they want a breath of fresh air. They want someone who's like a program, like they're yearning for one of them. Beck goes down to Miami. It's who's he dating? Who's he now broken up with? Who is he doing this, that, the other thing? It's Lamborghinis. It's Lamborghini stolen. It's all this stuff. But lost in all that in the offseason was the fact that he's going to a Miami football program that's not in the SEC. He's not dealing with all like that madness. There's madness, but it's not that madness. There's nothing like the SEC madness, like the fan base that they're breaking into quarterbacks' social medias and Venmos and everything almost on the daily now. It's a little bit quieter down there in South Florida, a little bit more of a like isolated, right? And he's going in, and now every report is, man, this guy is he's like a leader. He's showing up early, staying late. He's doing all the right things. Teammates love him. On the field, his accuracy's improved. Really fitting in the system, more decisive. Seeing it. Like the reports now, and it's almost like this PR firm said, wait until like the week before the season, 10 days, 2 weeks before the season, and then start leaking this stuff. Now, obviously, I'm making all of this. This is like me just kind of being, tongue in cheek. But honestly, it couldn't play out any better. And oh, by the way, that Miami team's loaded. That offensive line with Cristobal, right?
Yeah, the offensive line's great. I think the running game's going to be great. We'll see about that passing attack. They lost their top 6 receivers.
We'll get to on Friday. We're going to get to Miami as well. But there's a lot of talented guys, and reports are coming out that they're like this group could be better than even with Horton leaving. So my point is this: Beck gets this kind of pass and fresh start, and it's amazing what 1 year can do to rehabilitate a reputation and to force people to look at you very differently. And if he goes out and has a monster year, and Miami's in the mix at the end like they were with Cam Ward last year, and they're putting up big numbers, and the offense is running, and he's a little bit more accurate, and his receivers aren't having to work for it the way they did at Georgia, you know what becomes the storyline? Georgia doesn't take care of their receivers or their passing game. They are a defensive program that runs the football and has really good tight ends, and the tight ends kind of sucked the year after they lost the best tight end that they had ever had in Brock Bowers. Arguably the best tight end that ever played college football. It was the receivers, and they struggled with drops, and they weren't in the right place. And now he gets somewhere where it's a system that fits him, that's passing friendly. Cam Ward was there, and he had a huge year. Beck comes in, he has a huge year. Shannon's an awesome developer. You watch how quickly the rhetoric around Carson Beck will change if he does his part in the next couple months.
We'll see. I mean, they open with Notre Dame. It's gonna be a real eye opener right there. We'll see how good that preseason team is against a Notre Dame.
But it's all manageable. Yes, agreed.
It is.
But
You're
it's
right. He could also. They
got Florida on the 20th. I'm pulling it up right now. Florida on the 20th. But it's manageable after that. You got FSU on the 4th. Let's see how good they are.
Yeah, we'll see.
Supposed to be a lot better, but we'll see. They got a bye, and then Louisville on October 17th. And then it's just kind of a normal ACC run in November. There's 5 games. SMU is going to be really good. So you're looking at Notre Dame, Florida, and SMU as 3 really tough games. But then it's Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, Pitt, all good programs. But it ain't Texas, South Carolina, Michigan, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. Right?
There's enough meat on that bone, though. If he does do well against Notre Dame, if he does do well against Florida, the flip side of that argument is there's enough meat on that bone because also there's a potential Klubnik matchup in the ACC championship game, right? Miami could play Clemson in the ACC championship game. That would be a great, that would be a great storyline for Beck. to get there and play well. Yeah. So there's, there's the other way of looking at it. So yeah,
he's got a fresh start.
It could help. It could help him.
And we got a fresh start starting on Wednesday. Top 12. We're going to go 10 through 12 on Wednesday. Friday, we're back 3 times a week. Just stick with us. We're rocking and rolling now. 3 times a week for the McShay Show now through the college football season. That's all you need to know. Appreciate you being here. Another 5-star, Mensch.
5 stars.
5 stars. See you.